What's up, dudes? Max here, and I wanted to do a quick video about all the crazy upgrades that have taken place in this office over the past few months or so. I'm going to talk about things like cameras, capture devices, how I capture certain things from stream gameplay to regular gameplay, 4K video, which we've been doing a lot of on the channel, including rendering, and maybe some other big giveaway things that'll be taking place at the end of this video, as well as talking about a little bit of how I'm going mobile with certain laptops and trying to get as much video outside of this office, including streaming and everything like that, for Jessica's new cooking show. I'm guessing the first thing you want to know is this camera, which is the latest camera I've been using for all my stream in terms of like my new webcam, and this is actually a Canon XC10 camcorder, and it's pretty good, man. Unfortunately, it comes a little hefty in price at nearly $2,000, but it has everything 60 frames per second 1080p video, including a great autofocus, and this is actually going to be the camera I'm going to use when I guide you guys through all of this stuff. So first and foremost, let's take a look at what a lot of you guys probably want to see, where all the consoles are and how they hook up eventually to the computers over here. Now, if we go over here, you guys can see the tower, which is where a lot of the consoles are, including all of the Sega girls. Yes, you're doing fine, lady. Sega Tasantro will always protect you. And on this shelf is a bunch of classic game systems, including the Wii, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the Saturn. A lot of old video game signals, and we have a few others over here. And this stuff can be kind of tough because with classic video game signals, you have to hook them into something. Modern capture devices can kind of have an issue with older signals. Elgato does have a nice adapter that comes with it to capture like S-video and regular composite, but I like to scale that up to get it to an HDMI output, which is exactly what this thing is, the FrameMeister. Now, the FrameMeister is specifically amazing for what I use in terms of going through an HDMI output, and that HDMI output goes to several switchers. We use several SCART cables to get the best signal as possible from the Sega Saturn, but essentially all that stuff goes into here through a HDMI switcher, which essentially allows us to split the signals into as much as we possibly can. There's also component cables back here in this guy right here. Essentially, all this stuff boils down to it's going into the FrameMeister, where the FrameMeister is taking the signal, and I'm going to be splitting that signal right over here through this REI switch. Now, it doesn't actually end there. Believe it or not, that switch goes into another switch, which is right over here. And this guy's going to take the signal and output it through several different spots. You see how it takes one input right there, and it's going to take the output over several other outputs. That is very important because for a very specific reason. When you want to capture gameplay in terms of having your stream on at the same time, you're going to need multiple capture devices. Now, do I recommend you have to buy multiple capture devices? No. At the same time, you can get local recording to be working on your stream to actually have things look pretty good. But for the sake of mine, I like to capture video at like 40 megabits per second to make it look really damn good, to render it out as good as possible. And that requires two different capture devices, and that's essentially where this thing is going. It's splitting the signal from one spot, which is coming from the FrameMeister, and outputting it all over the place. And that is going to this very scary area down here. This might look terrifying, but I have a lot of disconnecting and reconnecting I do constantly. One signal goes into the Elgato capture card, which is right there. Another one of the cables goes to this tower where it outputs to this computer, allowing for smooth stream footage. But this Elgato capture device is actually hooked up to my big beastly 4K rendering machine, and this guy is going to capture as much as possible with very little interruption. Now, I say very little interruption because we split the signal, and that's going to be just a raw signal video feed. This computer is going to take the regular signal, output to the stream, and since I'm splitting it again, it's going to go to that one where the other Elgato card is taking it. So, for any of you guys that are like, oh man, I don't want to have to use two capture devices. If you want to get that, you sadly need two capture devices. You might have also noticed on that computer, we've been doing 4K video for quite some time now, including videos that are at 1440p and full 4K. This is amazing because everything that has been provided within this crazy beastly rig allows me to render about 20 minutes of 4K video in about an hour and a half, which is fantastic. That stuff looks amazing on YouTube and unlocks the bitrate to have things look amazing even though the games are at 1080p. there is limitations to 1080p signal on YouTube, which is where I want to circumvent that and get as good looking video to you guys as possible. And you've probably, hopefully, seen it over the week of videos and any gameplay I've been doing for quite some time. So that essentially is all it boils down to. We got the signals coming from all the consoles that are including the PlayStation, all this stuff. I try to get into a signal that goes into the FrameMeister, and then that FrameMeister goes into a splitter, and this splitter takes that signal and outputs it over here, where it's going to go out to multiple different places, including the TVs, including the other computer, and including the capture device that's hooked up to this computer, and all that stuff is down here as well. It took a while to figure out exactly what I wanted to do in situations where to get as good as footage as possible. And it'll take some time for you guys too. You just have to figure out what exactly you want and try to strive towards that goal without spending as much money as possible. I've spent a lot on equipment I didn't exactly need, and that's a really rough spot, especially if you're an aspiring YouTuber or an aspiring person on streaming, making videos. It's rough spending or spending money on things that you exactly didn't need to when one other device can just take care of the whole thing for you. Now, another huge upgrade that we've made is a streaming portable laptop. This laptop allows us to go to different spots of the house and stream, including potential like arcade machine room streams, which I still gotta work and get fixed up. But the big one is that Jessica has been doing cooking streams, and they've been freaking awesome over the past week. And thankfully, thanks to the Asus guys, they sent us a laptop to make it possible just because they thought a cooking stream would be really cool. And that is this. This was the Asus Strix GL753V, and this thing has been an absolute monster. The i7 processor on this guy has completely destroyed everything we've thrown at it, and the CPU usage has been under like 20% most of the time, even streaming at 720p 60 frames per second. Let's go take a look at it. So here we are. If we move into the kitchen, you guys can see we have the laptop set up right over here. We got one webcam right there and another webcam directly for any of the cookage that happens right over here. And this is the guy that powers it all. This has been pretty damn good to use, and all things considered, the i7 processor that we've been using for it is just, it's killing it. Everything we've thrown at it is completely knocked out of the park, and I can't help but thank the Asus guys enough because it's made the cooking stream an actual possibility. And there's the mixer, and yeah, that's our little stream setup in the corner. Oh. So yeah, that just about does it. This entire office is a constant strive of upgrades, in my opinion. I'm always looking for some way to make things even better, and I think the next thing I'm gonna do is a huge processor upgrade on the stream computer to something crazy like a Xeon, but I'm still investigating it. I want to try to get the best quality possible for cool presets that allow us to get the best looking video you can at 720p or 1080p or 900p, whatever like that. Now, like I said, we covered the fact that we're doing 4K streaming in terms of capturing games as well as recording that and throwing it up to YouTube at 4K. I showed you guys how I take all the signals that are in this room from low-end 240p signals, throw them into a FrameMeister, which upscales all this up to 1080p along with things like the PlayStation 4, outputs that to a couple splitters, and those splitters output to different capture devices that allow me to capture the same exact thing that you guys are watching on a stream in terms of YouTube, where we don't have to worry about any notifications or anything like that, and I just fix it up in editing. So, I hope that answers a few of those questions, because the next question is, where the hell is the giveaway? They gave me one, but I certainly don't need two. Here we go. We got the Asus GL553V, another beastly laptop. This thing can absolutely kill streaming. It's also got a 7700 HQ i7, and that'll murder a lot of what you try to throw at this. If you're a starting streamer, if you're just starting into video creation and content, stuff like this is exactly what you need because it's portable and it gets the job done, and it can be yours. This giveaway is going to be going on for a couple weeks or so here on YouTube as well as Twitch, and I'm going to put the link on the screen right now. I'll have to take care of that at some point, and in 2 weeks I'll let you guys know who the winner is. But we got a lot more giveaways to come up in the future. I hopefully will have more updates for you guys in the future as well regarding the process this room is going through. But I'm extremely happy with it right now, and thanks to the guys like Asus and my other sponsors like XSplit and Elgato for helping me make this a possibility. That is extremely cool of them. But for now, we're giving this away. Check out the link in the description below. If you guys have any other unique questions, please let me know, and I'll hopefully answer them as soon as possible. My name is Max, and I'll see you dudes next time.